Let me tell you something. There is a power that comes from silence, and it shakes a man to his core. You see, everybody's loud when they're angry. Everybody's got something to say when they're hurt. But when you get quiet, when you stop explaining, when you stop begging for them to see your worth, that silence becomes louder than any argument you could ever have. A man will hear that silence. He will feel that distance. And it will mess with him in a way words never could. Silence forces him to face himself. There's something about silence that makes a man sit still and think in ways he never did before. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop sending messages, when you stop trying to make him understand, you remove the noise he's been using to avoid the truth. Silence doesn't give him the luxury of dismissing your words or arguing his point. It leaves him with nothing but his own reflection. And that reflection, it's not always flattering. He'll start replaying every conversation in his head, the ones where you asked for more effort, the ones where you told him how you felt, the ones where you warned him that you were close to your breaking point. He will hear your voice in his memory, but now it's too late to respond. Now every word echoes in an empty room. That room is his mind. At first, he might try to act unbothered. He might tell himself you're just trying to get a reaction. But the longer that silence stays, the more it sinks in that you're not acting, you're done. He'll remember the little ways you showed up for him, the coffee in the morning, the encouraging texts before his big meeting, the way you would fix his collar without saying a word. Those things seemed small at the time, but now without them, his life feels like something is missing. He won't admit it to anyone at first. Pride won't let him, but inside there's a shift happening. He's starting to wonder why he didn't listen more carefully when you spoke. That wondering turns into regret. Regret turns into replaying moments in his head at night when he can't sleep. See, words give him a chance to defend himself. Silence doesn't. Silence is like a mirror that shows him everything he didn't want to see, and because there's no back on forth, no closure, no final argument, he's stuck in that place. That's why silence is powerful. It doesn't just end the conversation, it forces him into one with himself. And that's the hardest conversation a man can ever have. The longer the silence, the deeper the questions he'll ask himself. And sometimes, those questions will lead him to the truth he should have seen when you were still there. Your absence speaks louder than your words. People underestimate absence. They think it's just about not being around. But when someone has been used to your presence, your absence becomes a language all its own. A man might have learned how to tune out your voice. He might have brushed off your tears or shrugged off your concerns. But he can't ignore the space you once filled. The first time he notices it will be in the little things, waking up and realizing there's no good morning message, or walking into a room and not seeing your smile. He'll notice that no one is asking him if he's eaten. No one is sending him reminders. No one is laughing at his corny jokes anymore. That emptiness is loud. It's uncomfortable. And it doesn't go away easily. Because when you were there, you were adding something to his life he didn't even know he needed. Your laughter filled the air. Your care softened his rough days. Your love gave him a place to land when the world was heavy. Now, without you, there's just quiet. He might try to fill that quiet with other people, with distractions, with busyness, but it won't feel the same, because your absence isn't just the lack of you being there, it's the lack of everything you brought with you. And the truth is, absence can haunt a man longer than your presence ever did. He can't mute the memory of you. He can't block the impact you had. That's why absence speaks louder than any speech you could give him. It's not about punishing him, it's about removing your light and letting him notice how dark it feels without it. And trust me, he will notice. He realizes you were his safe place. A man might not admit it out loud, but deep down, he knows when he's lost his safe place. You weren't just his partner. You were the place he could come to when the world was rough. You were the one who knew the difference between when he needed advice and when he just needed someone to listen. You understood his moods without him having to explain. You made home feel like more than just walls and furniture. You made it feel like peace. When you're gone, that peace is gone too. He might try to find it somewhere else, but it won't feel the same. See, a safe place isn't about where you are, it's about who you're with. And he'll realize that the way he could breathe around you, the way he could drop his guard with you, isn't something you can just replace. You gave him the kind of comfort that made him believe everything would be okay, even on the worst days. But when you move on without saying a word, you take that comfort with you. At first, he might think he can live without it until life hits him hard and he has no one to run to. That's when the weight of losing his safe place truly sinks in, and the reality hits him. A man can find a new house, a new car, a new crowd, but finding a new safe place like you, that's not easy. He'll miss it in ways he can't even put into words. It challenges his ego. Most men carry their ego like armor. That armor makes them believe they're always in control, that they're the ones deciding when something is over. He probably thought you'd always be there, no matter what. He thought you'd wait, you'd forgive, you'd answer the phone no matter how much time passed. But when you walk away quietly without warning, without begging, you shatter that illusion. His ego will take the first hit before his heart does, because now he has to deal with the reality that he's not the center of your world anymore. You're not orbiting around him, you're not checking in. You're not showing up for him in the ways he counted on. That's a direct blow to his pride. At first, he might try to convince himself he doesn't care. But late at night, when there's nothing to distract him, that ego will start asking dangerous questions. What if she never cared as much as I thought? Or what if she's better off without me? Those questions sting because they force him to see the possibility that he overestimated his place in your life. And nothing humbles a man like realizing the world, especially your world, doesn't stop without him. It makes him think twice about the way he treated you, and once his ego takes that hit, it's never quite the same again. He starts wondering who took his place. Your silence is powerful, but it's also mysterious. And nothing eats at a man's mind like mystery. He doesn't know where you are, what you're doing, or who you're with, and that uncertainty drives him crazy. His imagination will fill in the blanks. He'll wonder if you're laughing with someone else, if someone else is hearing the stories you used to tell him. He'll picture someone else holding your hand, taking you to dinner, giving you compliments. Even if he's moved on with someone else, the thought of you moving on without him will sting. He'll start scrolling through your social media, looking for clues. He'll try to read between the lines of your posts, looking for signs that there's another man in the picture. The more you stay quiet, the more he'll invent stories in his head. And in those stories, you're glowing, you're happy, and someone else is treating you the way he should have. That's the part that keeps him up at night, the thought that another man is doing what he didn't. He may never know the truth, but the possibility is enough to make him restless. And the longer you stay silent, the louder his mind gets. That's the power of making him wonder instead of telling him. He understands you weren't playing games. Some people think walking away quietly is a game, but it's not. It's the clearest statement you can ever make about your value. When you stop talking, you're not trying to manipulate him, you're just done explaining yourself. And that's when it hits him. You weren't bluffing. You weren't just mad in the moment. You were serious about the boundaries you set, serious about the respect you deserve. That silence shows strength. It shows you don't need his validation to move on with your life. And whether he admits it or not, that's something he will respect. Even if his pride won't let him say it, he'll see the difference between someone who plays games and someone who means what they say. You've shown him you won't argue to be valued. You won't fight to be heard when your absence can speak for you. That realization will change the way he sees you, even if he never tells you. Because deep down, He knows he met a woman who doesn't need to talk to prove a point. She simply walks away, and that's the loudest point of all. He feels the weight of regret. Regret is one of the heaviest feelings a man can carry. At first, he might push it away, telling himself you'll be back or that he can replace you. But as time passes, he starts to see the truth. He sees you living your life, smiling, thriving, and moving forward without him. That's when it hits him you're not coming back. He'll remember the times he could have done better, the moments he could have chosen you but didn't. Every missed opportunity to appreciate you will replay in his mind. That regret will creep up on him when he least expects it, while driving, while sitting alone, even while talking to someone else. Because the thing about regret is, it doesn't need your permission to show up, and the more he sees you happy without him, the heavier that regret becomes. He'll realize he lost something rare, something that doesn't come around twice in the same way. And the worst part, he'll know it was his choices that caused it. Regret doesn't fade quickly, it lingers, reminding him of what could have been, and for him, that's a sentence he'll serve long after you've moved on. Let me tell you something, there's a strength in moving on without saying a word that most people will never understand. It's not weakness, it's not avoidance, it's power. Because when you stop talking, you stop giving someone the privilege of your energy. You stop feeding a situation that no longer feeds you. You see, silence doesn't mean you didn't care. It doesn't mean you didn't love. It means you finally loved yourself enough to stop explaining why you deserved better. It means you're no longer trying to convince someone of your value, you're simply living it. And here's the truth. When you walk away quietly, you leave behind a mystery they can't solve. They won't get closure. They won't get one last fight. They won't get the satisfaction of hearing you break. All they get is space to think, space to reflect, and space to realize what they lost. That silence will follow them. It will play in the background of their thoughts. It will pop up in quiet moments when they least expect it. And long after you've found peace, long after you've rebuilt your life, long after you've smiled without thinking of them, they'll still feel it. So don't ever underestimate the power of letting go without an announcement. You don't have to slam the door for someone to know it's closed. You don't have to raise your voice for someone to hear you. Sometimes the loudest thing you can say is nothing at all. Now go on and live your life so fully, so beautifully, that they can hear your happiness in your silence. Because when you move on in peace, the echo of that peace will always be louder than any goodbye.